I don't always drive mid-sized trucks, but when I do, I prefer the Tacoma. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. That's right, I don't always drive mid-sized trucks, particularly since I have the full-size Tundra now. But when I do, I prefer the Toyota Tacoma. Now, you might be asking why. You know, I have three trucks, for anybody that didn't know. I have, of course, the Tacoma that we're sitting in right now, and then I have a 2020 Jeep Gladiator, which I love as well. And then my newest acquisition is the Toyota Tundra, which I am very happy with. But when I go out, just kind of joyriding around like I'm doing right now, I do prefer the Toyota Tacoma. Now, it didn't used to be that way. You know, I'll admit, there was a time recently that I wasn't digging the Tacoma so much anymore, and that had to do with its power. Now, I'm not going to turn this into a big long chat about Sprint Booster, but it is because of the Sprint Booster. It gave me the truck that I hoped to get when I bought this truck. Now, when I first bought it, I went to a manual transmission. I am driving the old clunky 6-speed manual transmission that Toyota still puts out. Fortunately, that Toyota still puts out, because besides the Toyota Tacoma, the only other manual truck that you can get new these days is the Jeep Gladiator. So I'm very happy that Toyota has soldiered on, and as far as I know, are still going to continue soldiering on with the 2022 Toyota Tacoma. So why do I prefer this truck? Well, as I mentioned, the power. I now have the power that I wanted, and there's nothing like going through or running through the gears in a powerful vehicle. And I'm not saying it's, you know, overly powered now. It's not, but it's certainly more than adequate for what it is. But there's nothing, you know, like going through the gears with an engine that has enough oomph to give you the fun to run through them. In other words, you know, the way it used to be, when I would shift, unless I really ran it into the higher RPMs, you know, it would kind of look back at me and say, you know, what are you doing, man? Why are you shifting me? Because it just didn't have enough oomph. When I went to the next gear, it was laggy, slow, docile. That's right, docile. But it isn't anymore. It's awesome. So I love just zipping around in the truck, running through the gears. And I gotta say, you know, I think my favorite environment to drive in now is the city. Stop and go kind of stuff. And I'm not talking about lots and lots of traffic, because that's a drag in a manual. I'm talking about where you run for a little bit, you kind of downshift, stop at a stoplight or whatever, and then it turns and you get to take off, maybe a little informal race between you and the Ford Ranger sitting there beside you. Yeah, I can beat them now. But it's just fun to run through the gears, and you get to do that and stop and go city type driving, you know, where you have to stop at a stop sign or a stoplight every so often. That's fun to do. That's my favorite environment to drive the Tacoma in now. Not that it isn't fun to go out and open it up. That is, but after a while, it's just driving straight on a high-speed road, you know. Also, I gotta say, the manual transmission in the truck has gotten better. You know, I give Toyota a hard time all the time about the manual transmission and their lack of any kind of an update to it, which is still true. They don't really do anything. It's probably the same manual transmission that's been in the truck for the last 10 years. I don't know. But it does break in a bit. You know, I used to have the problem where, and maybe it's just because I've gotten more used to it. It's probably driver error in this instance, but I would pull up to a stoplight, and because of where reverse is, I would go to shift over into first, and I would accidentally be sitting in reverse. You know, nothing worse than that when the light turns green, and if you don't realize the screen is now showing you the backup camera, that you all of a sudden hit the gas and kind of inch back a little bit. Not very exciting for the person behind you either. I'm sure they don't appreciate that. But it seems to have gotten much better. It seems like the notching in the gear pattern has gotten a little bit better. Maybe loosened up a little bit, if that makes sense. Because now it really feels like I have to go over, give it a lot more effort to get into reverse, which I like. I don't like hitting reverse when I really mean to hit first. So that is much better in the truck, and it makes it much more pleasant to drive. Also, just running through the gears, it just seems a little bit looser. And not that it's loosey-goosey, it's not. It's relatively tight for an old manual transmission in a pickup truck. But it's just a blast to drive if you drive a manual transmission and you enjoy running through the gears like I like to do. You know, the other couple of things, you know, the size of it, now that I have the Tundra, I have to pay more attention to my footprint, right? Where I am, because it's big. It's a big truck. You don't have that in the mid-size truck, of course. I mean, it's obviously smaller. So I don't have to worry so much or pay quite as much attention when I get into those tighter spaces. You know, parking is much simpler in a mid-sized truck too. You fit in the spaces, right? Now, I always park about 1,000,000 miles away from wherever I'm going anyway. On the rare occasion that I do actually park my Tacoma somewhere, typically I don't take the Tacoma if I know I'm going to stop somewhere, because I just don't want to leave it sit all by itself. Leave it out there vulnerable to the world, right? I saw a post today, it was on, I believe it was Facebook, and somebody had a brand new, this happened to be a Tundra, and they took it to, I believe it was a grocery store, the worst place you can drive any vehicle. We should all just buy carts and walk to the grocery store. But they were at the grocery store, they came out and they had a nice big scratch and a little bit of a dent on the side of their truck, either caused by those dreaded shopping carts or somebody pulling into the spot next to them. That's why I would say 99.9% of the time, leave my Tacoma parked anywhere, particularly at the grocery store. That duty has been delegated to either the Tundra, again, I park far away and go early in the morning, or the Jeep Gladiator, but never my Tacoma. The other thing is, it's gotten more comfortable inside. You know, I have talked before about it being tighter, and it is. Particularly, again, going from the Tacoma to the Tundra, a heck of a difference. That thing just feels massive inside. But there is some solace to being a little more confined. It makes you kind of feel more part of the vehicle, the truck in this case. Now, if you're a driver like I am, I love driving. It's kind of something that you always strive for, at least I do, to sort of be one with the vehicle, you know? I think if it ever happens in the future, and unfortunately it'll probably be electric and all computer controlled, but wouldn't it be awesome if the truck was really more integrated with you, if that makes any sense? Now, I'm not talking about wires sticking out of your head running into the computer system on the truck, but I just mean an even more intuitive feel. I don't know, maybe I'm nuts, probably so, but it would just be a much more fun and inclusive driving experience, I think. So I really do. These days, I prefer the Tacoma when I'm driving a mid-sized truck. It's an awesome vehicle. It looks great. Even if you don't mod it or anything, it still looks great. It is, and probably always will be, the best looking mid-sized truck on the road. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you do. If you've got more than one vehicle, do you prefer the Toyota Tacoma as opposed to whatever else you might have? I'd be curious to know. Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. The first is RobMotive FST, all about that 2021 Toyota Tundra. and RobMotive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.